It was a selfless gift given by a stranger, and yet he got more out of it than the person whose life he saved.
It's the true, inspiring story shared in a new book by Rabbi and author Ari Sittner. Good to have you.
Thank you. Good morning.
You donated a kidney, a very important organ, to a perfect stranger. How did that transpire?
Well, it all started off when I was a rabbi of a congregation here in the South, in Charleston, South Carolina. And I decided it would be a great idea to just come up with new topics to teach my congregation. And so I said, why not teach about medical ethics? And I found myself standing in front of my congregation and telling them what a wonderful deed it is to give a kidney. And I went home that night and said to myself, what a hypocrite. How could I tell everybody else that they should give a kidney, and yet myself, I would never consider it? And that was the moment that I started what became a year-long journey of exploring what would be involved if I really challenged myself to give this selfless gift to another person.
When did you come across? What was your first thing that you found out? How long does it take, and how do you even go about doing it?
Yes, there were over 100 questions that I came up with, and that became the outline for my book. Initially, I was terrified because I thought as soon as I began the process, within a week I'd find myself on an operating table. And I didn't want to be in that position. And by slowing down and really taking the time to be thorough and asking myself not only what are the risks involved, the risks of death and the risks of recovery and what the rest of my life would look like, but really, what am I willing to give it for? We're all willing to take risks if it's for something meaningful. And that was where the transformation really became significant for me, because I started to think about, this is life. This is saving the life of a single mom who had 3 kids who would have died without this transplant.
Wow. But you could, how did you face up to the fact that if your other kidney, because we cannot live long with a malfunctioning kidney, if something went wrong, you could die. How did you, because you have a family.
Yes.
So how did you deal with all that?
And that was a huge part of the journey, trying to have a conversation with my wife, with my children, speaking to my family and my community. Everyone was skeptical, including myself. One of the things that I learned is that there are so many mechanisms that are put into place to really help protect the kidney donor. So for instance, if you ultimately needed a kidney and I needed a kidney, as a donor, I get bumped to the top of the list.
Okay, because you've already given one good one.
I scored some extra points.
How important is this for us to consider? How serious is kidney disease? How many lives could this save?
There are, in the United States alone, 100,000 people that are waiting for kidneys. And dialysis is a temporary solution. It's a Band-Aid, and most people will live 5 to 10 years on dialysis. And hopefully they'll get a transplant, but if not, they will not likely live longer. But there are 4 million people in the world that are waiting for kidneys, and the purpose of writing my book, The Kidney Donor's Journey, is not to convince people to donate kidneys, because I don't think it's for everyone. It's a huge thing to do. But I believe in raising awareness, in starting off with the sympathy, the understanding, and feeling the pain of other people who are suffering on a daily basis, so that we as a society can ask ourselves, what can we do to help?
And what about the cost? How much does this all cost? Because is it a financial burden upon yourself?
Kidney donation is hugely expensive, yet it cost me nothing. Everything, including the testing, through the entire surgery and recovery, was all covered by the recipient's insurance.
What was the biggest thing you got from this?
It was seeing it through the eyes of my children. Before I decided to go through with it, or even to make the commitment to donate, I sat with my kids, and my wife and I said, if we're going to do this, the kids got to be on board, because it's a major life decision. And when we talked to them and we explained what was going on, they initially said, Dad, don't do this. This is really scary. And my wife and I looked at each other and said, I guess that's the end of the road. Upon which my older child, Ruvain, who was about 11 at the time, said to me, well, if you would think about donating, who would you be giving your kidney to? And I said, well, I've been matched with a woman named Ronit, who's a single mom with 3 kids. And suddenly my 2 boys looked at each other and said, in that case, I think you should do it.
Wow.
And I said, you can't just keep changing your mind. This is a major decision. Upon which my son said to me, if you die because of this surgery, we're going to be terribly sad, but at least we have Mommy to take care of us. if this woman dies, her children will be orphans.
Oh my gosh, wow.
And
Talk
that was
about raising the
transformative.
bar on empathy. Thank you so much. We will link to your website. Encourage everybody to read the book.
Thank you. akidneydonor.com.
Love it.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.